The deputy party leader of the immediate former ruling party, Jubilee, is here. Jeremiah Kioni, good morning.
Morning to you.
Asante sana for joining us. Now that you're in the opposition and you see this.
Siku ngumu.
Siku ngumu sana.
Siku ngumu sana. Initially I thought you were setting me up.
Well, when you accepted the position of deputy party leader,
you set yourself up. I agree.
So here you are. As Jubilee is looking at this, what does Jubilee think?
I think one is, again, asante sana kwa kuwa hapa. But the thing, when I saw this call and I am actually looking at the demands that were made by this Transport Alliance, because this is a thing done by a grouping of about 14 people in the transport industry, and you have seen the circulars they have sent. It reminds me of where we were some 3 years ago when we were talking about the cost of living. And I remember I came and you were looking at me. That time you were worried I would come with a sufuria. Because this is the same reason why we were wearing sufurias, we were fighting. And I think it's also good to mention that 3 years ago, a day today, is when we had what we call the Rimuru 3.
Okay.
It happened on the 17th of May 2024. And the issues that we were complaining about are the same issues. We also talked about, by the way, Latif, you may recall that that is also when we said, for the first time we said one term. Not that it is what I want to sing about now. I still belong to that axis of pushing for things to be better. But it is when we said one term, we talked about the cost of living, we put on sufurias the same period, and these same things have come back to bite us. And it is it's incumbent. The people in office must address it. When you see people come out, you must address the issues that they are. And one of the things is engaging them. I recall when we had the Jubilee government, we had the COVID-19, and it was a very tough time. And the immediate thing I saw our former head of state and now our party leader was get these sectors, engage them. Ministries were engaging the sectors permanently. Health workers, transport industry, KOTU, all of them, so that they were all part of the solution, part of the problem, because the problem is sometimes bigger than those who are in office. But if you do not engage, if I don't see you doing a give and take, then it resorts to the kind of thing that we are having. I didn't expect that the government would have waited until today. I thought there would have been a meeting that we should have been called by the people who did the circular and engage them, let them understand and also understand the pain, because when they are doing this, why you see many people not also, actually, why you are not seeing Kenyans coming out in the road is also because they associate with the difficulties that are there. If you're not supporting the industry or the strike, is that you are agreeing to the 50% increase in transportation and the rest, and it's not an easy thing. If you look at the pay slip that people are taking home, and then umeigonga tena na pesa ingine ya transport, people have gotten to a point where it says enough is enough. And it is important that I'm happy that I met Buddy. It's important that they sit and address these issues. Don't dismiss them. This is not a joke. And why I'm saying this is because when we were even doing the NADICO report, number one was the cost of living. Right. And we were again told that by the system, which is still there, that they have addressed it, they know how to address it. You remember during the COVID-19 and even that period, there was also increase of petrol. I think eventually it ended up at 159. There were subsidies that were put in. And one of the major criticisms that was brought in by the people in power is how do you subsidize the fuel? It is bad economics. IMF, I think, was also on our case. Uhuru didn't budge. He said there's such social support, number one, before we now go to the other issues. And I hold the same thing. It's very important to give support to the people. Kwa sababu, sasa wa Kenya hawataenda kazini. So how are you going to tax them? The revenue for the government today will be at the lowest, because you tax people when they are engaged in economic activities. For them to get involved in economic activities, lazima waende bahali. if they don't move, you get zero.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. So I think it's a thing that you cannot deal with. But and I believe in engaging. I believe in engaging. We hope that we will not have. I have heard from some of these people that they are very careful with magari ya shule. Yeah, they are very keen. They are not harassing them.
Yeah.
Which is a responsible thing.
Yeah.
And I pray that that continues, so that all kids should be home. Nobody wants to be. It becomes very anxious. You become very anxious when your child is out there and you don't know what is happening.
And you don't know what's happening on the roads.
I was up very early. I slept very late. I was awake 3 a.m. because my mother is at Nairobi hospital. We were there, and I needed to be there again very early. And I wanted to ensure that I'm not rocked. Nyumbani.
Yeah.
My mother is elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's not a joke. Hii si kitu ya mchezo hii. Na hii maneno ya Kenya ni vizuri sasa tuelewe kwamba jambo kama hili likitajwa litafanyika. And somehow we've gotten to that level as a society.
People say undo.
People say undo. And the other thing is that they don't even require political leadership. Nobody should try and claim leadership on this issue, wanasiasa. Sababu naona wengine wetu tunajaribu kusema ati tunapanga. Hii si yetu. Hii ni wananchi wenyewe. Hii ni wananchi wenyewe ambao wanasema mambo ni mazito
Mambo
kuliko.
ni mbaya.
Ni mazito kuliko hata vile pengine sisi wanasiasa tunaelewa.
I want to ask you, Kioni, what would Jubilee solution be?
If I were there, we would still have gone back to the same thing. The support.
Which is?
You subsidize this. It is, somebody may say it's bad economics, but you need to relieve. You need to take some of this pain from the people.
What is subsidy?
Subsidy.
The subsidy that the Jubilee government offered was from the Petroleum Development Levy Fund, which is what is also being offered here to diesel and kerosene. The other measure that the Jubilee government took was reduction of VAT, which is what this one has happened now. What more?
Yeah, but you do something that is equivalent to the problem that is at hand. Yeah, what we did then helped then, but you can't do half of what we were doing then and say what more. You need to do more than we did. The problems are bigger. That time we had the Ukraine and Russia, which was dismissed and said they cannot have any impact on our economy.
Yep.
Now we have another bag into it, Iran and the US maneno.
Yeah.
So the response must be equal to the problems that we have. Na ile shida tuko nayo, you have to go down even in terms of doing away with the lower the VAT beyond the level. Ideally is that one, of course, there is also the issue of we also need to understand what's the actual cost of bringing fuel into the country. Shilling for a shilling. The government should not make a coin out of where we are now today. Number two, they should then go to the point of subsidizing that, because for us to talk about development, we must be alive. And if you cannot be there, then it doesn't add up. And this is the argument that was difficult, I believe, then to push through IMF individuals. So while you are asking what more is more subsidies or more lowering of the taxes, it cannot be anything else. It is reducing the pain lower to the lowest possible. And if they cannot be able to do to the levels that perhaps people want, engage, let people see it. I want to see this so that this is not a straightforward thing. It's not an easy statement the way you are saying. We have problems in this country. Now, when you get to where we are, one of the things that helps is to come and say, and I saw this with Muthaura and Kenywa. I don't know whether some of you may not have had the experience with some of those serious civil servant administrators. That was the days of ODM and PNU.
Yes.
Kibaki regime. And we were in a hole. And ODM was fighting very viciously. What Muthaura and Kenywa did was to come up with everything. Akikuja bunge, anakuja na kila kitu imefuguliwa. This is the revenue, this is our borrowing, this is the amount of money, this is where we are this is transparency. so that we all become part and parcel of managing the difficulties that we are in.
Right.
It does not matter how we got there now. The issue is that can we get out of it? But you're not going to get out of it by telling me maneno dismissive statements like we have seen. I would have called these individuals and come. Again, when we lead that more taxes are being hit on people in Gikomba and everywhere else, it doesn't help in getting us to move on together. So I, as a politician and a person interested in where we are going as a country, how we are going to sort it out will have to be a lot of engagement. I have said to many that if we don't also learn to engage and also listen to dissenting view, even within our own sitting, you can end up with this kind of difficulty. Haina dawa ingine ni kuongea. You know, we have some saying in Kikuyu which I can't use here. Like if Kikuyus and Masais were talking, we will not have the issue of people stealing women from one side and stealing cows from the other side. That used to be a product of that kind of a economic activity. Yes.
So one thing to call it economic activity. Let's listen in to Laban Shaban, who's on the streets. I think he's on Thika Road, and we were doing a spot check to see if there are barricades anywhere, if there are people now stopping movement. Heard reports of tear gas. Laban, what's happening?
Oh, thank you very much, Mariam. I've actually moved through Thika Superhighway from where we last spoke from. That was drive-in, went past Clayworks, Car Wash, and also Githurai. It was a bit of a nightmare passing through Githurai. That is where we found barricades, blockades. We were not able to move seamlessly because we found some youth lighting bonfires or erecting big blocks of stones there, and but luckily we passed through there, and the young men who are protesting, blocking matatus, the few matatus who are plying the routes during this matatu strike, they were stopping them from operating. They are saying that it is time to push the government to lower the fuel prices. We also made it to somewhere in Kiunguro Ruiru bypass where there was an altercation between security officers and the residents there. Can I say the protesters who are protesting against the hiked fuel prices? But it was quelled, and I've actually shared videos of police officers standing guard there. The situation, the atmosphere was tense. But first things first, I'm here at the main Ruiru bus terminal. This is a bus terminus that serves buses that ply the routes to Nairobi, to Kiambu, to Thika, to Githunguri, and every day this area is always bustling with activities. But what we can see here is just signposts showing where to go, but it's not possible for commuters to get buses today here because of the Matatu strike. Something else also to note here, on my right here, you can see stranded commuters. They can't find Matatus to their respective destinations. I'll try to see if I can speak to some of them later in this broadcast. We can look at on my left side here, the businesses here. Now it's taking a toll on the businesses, and it's kind of, can we say, precautionary measures, because such nationwide protests sometimes can bring about some youth taking advantage, not youth, but criminals taking advantage of the situation to rob and vandalize property. So normally, even we can also see these are some of the vibandas here. These shacks, they always do their businesses around here. They take advantage of influx of people. But today, now it is deserted. I'll still move around. On my left here, you can also see students. They've tried also to make it to school, and it is not possible for them. I'll try to see if I can talk to people here. I don't know whether they work around here. Sijui ndugu yangu kama mnafanya kazi hapa na mambo ya biashara imekuwaje. Hebu zungumza nasi. Asante sana kwa kuzungumza na NTV. Karibuni. Shukrani sana kwa kuzungumza na NTV. Tuambie majina yako kamili na unafanya biashara gani na umeathiriwa vipi leo?
Asante sana. Kwa majina naitwa Bernard Mugaka. Nafanya kazi ya sekta ya matatu kutoka hii pande ya Ruiru. Hii matatu sasa tumeona waje tuweke magari chini ndio tuone kama serikali itasikisha mafuta. Mafuta ndio imetuletea shida. Mwananchi Asura alituambia ataweka kila kitu chini, lakini wapi? Imekuwa too much. Sasa tunaomba president wetu ajaribu arudishe mafuta iwe chini. Mafuta ndio kila kitu. Kitu ya kwanza, nyanya zimepanda. Nyanya unanunua shilingi 20 na nyanya ilikuwa shilingi 2. Kitu ya pili, fare nao wananchi hawatembei, hawaendi kasi. Sasa ukiangalia hii Ruiru imekuwa too much. Tumeshindwa kulingana na hii uchumi. Uchumi itatufikisha wapi?
Asante sana. Asante sana Mogaka. Nakutakia heri. Sijui leo ungekuwa unapata hela ngapi, alafu unaweza kuwa umepoteza ngapi?
Tumepoteza pesa mingi. Maabiria wenye wanasafiri hawana magari. Sasa wanatembea kwa mguu, wanapotapota nao wako hapo nje, wanashindwa. Hii serikali itatupeleka wapi? Tunaomba Mungu atujalie. President, pahali penye huko, sikiza mwananchi na sikiza mwananchi yote. Sukari kila kitu imepanda anyway. Yeah.
Asante sana Mogaka. Huyo ni Mogaka, amesema anaachia Mungu. Mogaka huwa anafanya kazi, he works here as a tout, an operator in the Matatu industry at the Ruiru bus stage. I know it looks like he's traveling, but utaongea na sisi na NTV. Asante sana kwa kuongea na sisi. Unaweza kusimama. Tuambie majina yako, start by introducing yourself and tell us why you're here.
Okay.
Nitakushikia.
Sawa. Okay, kwa majina naitwa Nicholas Ochieng. Mimi nilikuja hapa, nilikuwa nataka kutravel kwenda kazini, lakini magari hazipatikani. Mi nafanya kwa sekta ya jua kali na singeweza kuenda kazini kwa sababu hakuna magari.
Na wewe mwenyewe unaunga maandamano haya?
Hii maandamano ninayounga iko sawa kwa sababu hali imekuwa ngumu. Yes.
Asante sana na pole sana. Mariam, we will be monitoring the situation from here, the Ruiru bus station in Kiambu County. From here, we will go to K Road, also to Juja, and up to Thika Stadium, where we are told that there are some activity there with youth pushing the government in this protest to lower the fuel prices. Back to you in studio.
Thanks, Laban. That's Laban Shaban at Ruiru, and like he said, he's going all the way to Juja. He'll get to Thika Stadium to see what's happening, and we'll keep checking in. We're also in studio with Deputy Party Leader for Jubilee, Jeremiah Kioni. We'll be right back after this short break, discussing opposition unity, this TIFA poll that came out, and what they would have been doing if it was Jubilee in power during a time of crisis like this. We'll be right back after this.
You're fixing the nation, one conversation at a time on NTV, Nation FM, and on all our digital platforms where we are engaging with you. Please tell us what's happening wherever you are. Send us a video, send us, comment and tell us what's happening where you are in terms of transport and the paralysis this morning. We are seeing a lot of your feedback, and we're also airing some of the footage that you're sending us so that other people can see what's going on. We also have our team of reporters across the country, and as we get more information from Kisumu, from Nakuru, from Eldoret, from Mombasa, from Garissa, from Tana River, from across the country, we'll also be showing you and telling you what's going on. In the meantime, police are assuring Kenyans of adequate security ahead of the plan of this, as this Matatu strike continues today. The National Police Service says security agencies are maintaining order and ensuring normal operations across the country. This is according to a statement that was sent last evening by the National Police Service spokesperson Mushiri Nyaga, who said they had taken note of the planned strike organized by a section of public transport operators, and that they were going to be deploying officers on the ground. We've seen them in some parts this morning, and as our reporters are, including Laban Shaban, has told us, there are police officers on the road. So far, no major confrontation. There have been some confrontation, but also just moving and quelled. As you can see, that is Ngong Road in Nairobi, where some people have now erected barricades on Ngong Road with tires, and they have lit a tire there. You can see that. And blocking with boulders and rocks as well. So this is happening, and so now again we'll see police coming to try and disperse this crowd and to switch off this, to take out these fires.
Yeah.
This is Ngong Road. These are live images actually coming from Ngong Road this morning. You can see the police truck right there. So there's going to be some level of negotiation. I'm always wondering, okay, so why barricade the road anyway?
Yeah.
Just get off the road, fine. Don't operate, fine. You could barricade it in some way, but lighting the fires,
Yeah. Some of these things
No,
are
the
not-
question is
So
why
it is
barricade?
why barricade,
And then you can
yeah.
see extortion right there
Yep.
as that car was passing. And ini gari ya polisi, unless
Hata yeye anaitishwa kitu. Hey,
this
you
is
see that? They're
madness. So wait,
They have given him access.
yeah.
Kawaida huwa wanaweka mawe kwa mguu.
Yes.
Ukisonga
So even that
mawe
cover
inasogeshwa kwa mguu. And then at times it's very dangerous kwa sababu wanaweza weka mbele na nyuma.
yeah. The question there is,
And
why
I-
did the police just pass by?
It appears like that is not carrying any officers. It's just the police driver.
Good Lord.
Well, on to matters transport, still sticking to what's happening this beautiful Monday. Online taxi drivers have suspended operations in solidarity with the national strike. Uber, Bolt, and Faras drivers movement have agreed to a nationwide strike, and they say they're supporting the Matatu industry strike, and they have asked the government to lower the cost of fuel. So we're seeing a paralysis across the board on alternative options to PSVs.
Yeah.
And it's beyond just fuel. Unajua hata stima imepanda. Imeenda juu. So if the consumers of electricity had also a way of organizing themselves, they would fight them here. And this actually becomes a challenge to the opposition. Because you see, this is a grouping, call them grouping, or an organization that is already protesting, opposing, in fact, opposing what the government of the day is doing. You have another sector that is also opposing what the government. Now, when you talk about the opposition, the challenge is how do you win the confidence of all these sectors? Because you are not their leader. You are not a leader of another group. Then there is another group. So when you're talking about opposition unity, it is not just the unity now of the individuals sitting around the table.
Yeah.
Kenyans themselves are saying we are opposed to all this. But then when you now offer yourself to be the symbol of this, the test is higher than it was before 3 years ago. And some of these things, when they are said, some people think that you are being critical. No, it's the reality of where we are. I mean, when I was putting on the sufuria, it was a different thing. We were even talking about the server those days, open the server.
Yeah.
Now, today, that's an issue.
Yeah.
You're not going to have it on the table. And, it is, I think, packed there. It will come back most likely. But it's an evolving thing. And I have said this before. Kenyans are actually in the opposition.
Yeah.
And we, the politicians, are now trying to find ourselves. How do they accept us? Remember the Gen Z in the June 24, 25, walisema nyinyi tafadhali kaeni nyumbani. Since that statement, Kenyans took over the opposition.
Yeah.
And they took over the protests. If we had tried to organize this maandamano, it will not be as effective as it is today. Because wafuasi wa Kioni watakuwa wakisema hapana, Kioni hasemi, mimi hatutaki wafuasi wa huyu, hatutaki wafuasi wa huyu. So then the what is before us is a more complicated scenario than it was even like 2002. And it will require a role of perhaps just offering yourself, being available. They are the people who are likely to ensure. Somebody told me the Kibaki movement is coming. Yes, but it's likely to come from the Kenyans themselves.
Correct.
Wanaenda tu namna hii, wanaenda namna hii. 1 week you're seeing it like it is likely to be me.
Yeah.
The other week you see it has shifted to the other person. All those kind of things. And unlike those earlier days, again with the phone. See, everybody, kama unataka kutembea, the starting point in the morning iko namna gani kwa barabara. Iko namna gani kwa barabara. So it's not an issue that, and that's why I'm saying, the management of the affairs today is much different. You will need to engage. And Kenyans must see you engaging. And the voice of reason is what Kenyans will associate themselves with more. We were out with Sifuna, na maneno ya sufuria. And I can tell you, even those days of maandamano, the person I saw who had real vibe on the sufuria was Sifuna.
Sifuna.
And why I picked the sufuria myself is because saying this is, listen, it is coming to your own jiko. It is empty. Don't imagine that there is anything working. Ati unasema kwangu iko sawa. If the sufuria is empty, it's empty for all of us.
Correct.
And he kept the vibe in the stations that you have continued inviting him on the floor of the Senate. And now Kenyans have, they are resonating with that voice. And you can actually see it's very different from before. You remember 2002, Kibaki, Giru, and Wamarwa permanently sat at Serena and had a cup of tea. And voters were available kutoa kwa gazeti,
not on social.
Not on social. Ilikuwa inaonekana hata jana walikuwa wakikunywa chai. Juzi walikuwa wanakunywa chai. Until they were dismissed that a group of 3 people watamaliza chai Serena. Then mwingine akasema na hii wanaume wawili na mama mmoja. You know those kind of chai. It's not that way now. It's you can see, I mean, all these people together and the whole country has gone off. But the thing is that they are able to speak on behalf of the millions. That's why that's the bit that is there, on behalf of the millions who are to travel. Because if that was not the case, the travelers would be out. Let me give you the other example. When we had the 14-seater and 19-seater, I don't know whether I know Latif sat on the 19-seater. Were we going 19?
Under 14.
Hata 14.
14 ni juzi. Ni maendeleo ya michuki.
Yes.
When people are told you are going to use the 14-seater, Matatus went on strike.
Yes.
Commuters said, we are not part of that. We agree with what Michuki is going. Walisema tutaenda mguu. It didn't last for 3 days. So when you see people not coming to the roads, they are actually saying we are in solidarity with what they are saying. Yeah, and that is the kind of management of siasa that becomes very not a neat thing anymore.
True.
So
this actually, and that's a very good point that you're raising, Kioni. This is not a Matatu's strike. It's a national strike.
It's a national.
Because the Matatu strike is usually when Matatu are, complaining about police harassment, government, they're the ones who are on strike and people want to travel. Now Matatus are not there. This one, even all the comments that we're seeing on all our socials this morning, nobody is saying, lakini hawa watu wa Matatu waache. People are sort of in solidarity. Laban Shaban there spoke to somebody in Roiro and he said, I am a Juakali worker. I am stranded here. I'm not going to work, but I support what the Matatu.
If he's pengine anaenda kwa mjengo, chuma imepanda. Simiti imepanda. Kwa hivyo hata kule anaenda kuna shida. Na unajua they have also now to try and see whether they can negotiate their daily
wage,
which might not be an easy thing. Kwa sababu hata mwenye unaitisha yeye pia hana. When I was yesterday I was in Kinagop with the solidarity with Kwenya Thuku. Na unaona ile petroli mnakunywa kwenda huko. Hii maneno unajiuliza jamani inakuwa namna gani? Yes, and all of a sudden again you are stuck along hii barabara ya kwenda kwenyu kwetu huko inasimama katikati, and what you realize people are now doing is everybody just
switch off
immediately. Gari zote zimezima. Ukijaribu kusema wacha nipige U-turn nirudi, utafanya kibarua. You negotiate with about 7 drivers.
The point I was driving at here, Kioni, is that this is also an indictment on the opposition. Because the people are sitting back and they're feeling frustrated at a lack of leadership. They're unhappy with the government for not resolving this issue. And they're also not even aligning themselves with any opposition because the opposition is not offering any alternative solutions. So this is telling us even the opposition here is on the dock. Because the opposition has not come out. This is what we would be pushing for.
True.
People are just saying, I'm going to sit back at home. Let a solution come.
I think to me is not. I would take it the other way and say it's giving us an opportunity. Who among us can be able to articulate these issues best, so that Kenyans can rally behind him? It might not be one person because you now can see all these groups are unhappy. It is going to be somebody being able to address the issues in the transport sector, perhaps another one being able to address the issues in the agricultural sector, another one is able to deal with the issues in the education sector. All these people must come together, and you now must appreciate as those in the opposition that it is clear not one of us is being entrusted with this solution.
So it's a multi.
Because lazima sisi watu, you know what I had Sifuna saying? He said there are 16 principles. And all the 16 must be in the room. That's what he's saying in Kisi. Yeah, you know, somebody may just think that it is an idle statement.
Yeah.
But he is actually saying it so that he can keep his troops intact. And I really thought that is leadership. He is saying I have 16. None of them, I'm not wishing any one of them away.
Yeah.
They will sit in the room where we are looking for the solutions.
You know.
And I can tell you Kenyans will be happier with that kind of a scenario where we have all these people looking for a solution. And we all know that if we are 16 of us, it is only one of us will be around to be a leader. But even among those ones, we will also now we kiongozi, sisi, tunakubali. I'm going to be a member of parliament. When I go to parliament, I will be in this committee or in that committee. That's how this government is going to be led. And it will actually, for us in the opposition, one of the minimum is do not look down upon any other person. I want to tell you here again, najitetea, si kufaa sufuria kwa ujinga. Uliniita mwenda wazimu, but don't try at all and belittle that role that I played. When we were going to Limuru 3 with Mother, I really respect Mother. When we were going to Limuru 3, we were being, ridiculed all over. We started with Vinska, we were calling Kamwen, and we were struggling to
You are tribal.
And we got there. I remember we were even being, hii mnafanya mtapelekea nani? Now you can see, and I actually said that time, which has come to vindicate me, atuwaletei nyinyi, hii ni ya Wakenya wenyewe. Na sasa unaona Wakenya wameendelea kusema. The leadership that is even being called of us going forward, from whichever sector, we must completely change our leadership styles. You must engage. You must sit with the people. Do you know the decision making which was being made by a team of elders, and all of us were responsible, so that every one of us can go and tell, ebu ngoje kidogo, tunaona kuna shida, lakini tupe dakika kadhaa tuone. Kwa sababu hii mabadiliko haitapatikana one day. Nobody will give a solution one day. Of course, there are things that can be done like that. There are things that must be done to relieve people. Education, watoto waende shule. You be left struggling as a government. That's how you deal with the issue. Mambo ya health, you remember that and do afya for children.
Yes.
I tell you that is a thing that must be brought back immediately. Chukueni mambo ya hospitali. Even if you are not able to give universal health coverage, hii ya watoto ya shule, we demonstrated it's doable. Mambo ya, what is this? Mambo ya, I have talked about education. The issue of hii malipo ya uzeni. Tafadhali.
Isiguzwe.
Don't touch.
Don't touch it, because that, I'm talking about my mother. I was with her in hospital and she's still there. She's recovering. Thank God for it. You look at that, the vulnerability of the old people. And they're looking at you. Wewe ndio utafanya hayo. So again, the government cannot just look at you also. They must be seen to help you. Perhaps not give you money directly, but ensure that things that are required by the old people are subsidized. So there are all these areas that you give social support, and it needs to be given. The Reader Mama thing, people may think it was a joke, but I can tell you, ni ukweli. Akina mama, you look at the statistics.
Maternal,
that are now being
mortality,
available in government records. Si vitu tunaokota huko nje. They are there in the government records. It's gone up. The death of women and children during that time is up again. And all these things are things that a responsible government must come in strongly. You would rather suspend the development of a road and support this for people to get to point A, from point A to point B.
The the opposition, let me just say the opposition is trying to have us have faith in you guys and in your potential leadership. It would be really good to see, as to build this faith, interventions from the opposition as one in Parliament for matters cost of living, matters education, all these things that you have mentioned. You may not have the majority, whether it's in Parliament or in the Senate, but trying to see intervention, legislation, whipping, what is it called? Lobbying, working across the sector. That would give a lot of faith that if whoever this united opposition decide to elect, we can be behind that person, because we have seen even when they were not the majority in the Senate or in Parliament, they did something, right? But yet we haven't seen any such thing. It's just politicking. That's the truth. As far
cannot be, you can't say it better. And the sad bit about this is you are in this game with Kenyans without Parliament. And if there is any credit you wanted to give somebody for having disorganized the unit without others knowing how crucial it was, it's William. He understood that if you to take away bunge from the people, you've really taken away that voice.
That voice.
If this voice is not on the floor, and you know now it is also on the floor in a very disjointed manner, because the people who are saying are in the opposition, it's a section of UDA. Because in bunge, there's no DCP, there is no Leader Mwananchi, there's a section of, really is a section of UDA, the people who left with Gachagua during the impeachment. They are the ones who've taken over the opposition within the floor and completely silenced the legitimate opposition. And when that is done, you know, the standing orders on the floor, there are things you cannot do if you belong to the party that is in power. There are things you cannot do on the floor. There are things that can only be done by the party that is in the opposition, because some of the motions must be authorized by the party. And now the parties that are not in power, Jubilee included, were the ones that were completely, you remember I wasted my 3 years, I say wasted maybe, not wasted, but I spent my whole 3 years of a political career fighting for Jubilee Party. I am happy that it is now available for people to run on. It is there, intact. We have a party leader, a new constitution, nobody can tunyara us anymore. But it is not what I would have wanted to do. I would have done much better. I can tell you, I would have done much better in opposition if I didn't spend my time running for the survival of the party. I would have been clearer in my mind as what does it take when you're in the... And I was clearer, I can tell you. When I was wearing sufuria, my mind was clear that hii maneno, isi kitu isu ya kusema sava hapa. But I didn't have time to mobilize people around myself. So it is... and then, you see, when... that voice, Kibaki was used to tell us. I was telling some young people whom I'm mentoring now. I have a team of about 35 people running for different political seats within Nyandarua. And I'm telling them, one of the things that Kibaki used to tell us, because he used to engage members of parliament every day. By the way, you say you have a group of members of parliament from a region and you want to see Kibaki, alikuwa pale OP. Lunchtime aedi, munakaa naye. Ikifika saa 8, Nabi hapana, hamwezi kuwa sasa hapa. Hapana, mnatakikana huku. Before ule hata si bunge anasema mnatakikana huku. So before you wake up to know huko ni wapi, you realize it is bunge. He was so respectful of bunge. And I want to say one more thing. Sorry.
We are seeing on the screen here, there is a... Goodness. Let's listen into what's going on.
Kwa sasa Kiambu. Hadi na huko kuna magari. Alafu plus ukipata gari ni expensive.
Labda kutoka Kiambu hadi huko umefika vipi na umelipa pesa ngapi?
Nimelifika tu kibati, nilipata mtu alikuwa anakuja huku but hiyo ilikuwa personal. Kanyakadi tau. Sasa nikachukua tau kutoka hapo hivyo railways kupanda sasa. Nikafika Karen. Sasa ndo.
Umelipa pesa ngapi?
100.
100. Asante.
I mean, just seeing the situation on the route and how Kenyans are really, even when things are in this kind of situation, Kenyans are still somewhat finding the energy to get out and try get to their workplaces because, like we said, this largely affects the running of those households. So sitting at home is not a choice that they would be making. They're like, if I can manage to get myself there. And just true to what Jeremiah has said, a Kenyan gets there, alafu inakuwa ni situation ingine. Let's listen to this guy.
Ya petro iko imefika hapo. Diesel nayo imepanda hata kuliko petro. Na anasema pikipiki zetu zinakunywa mafuta. Mafuta taa kwanza. Hiyo ni mbaya na tudharau. Acha tufike hapa hivi, angalau siku yetu.
Kwa siku unatumia pesa ngapi?
Kwa siku unapata natumia 800. unapata natumia 800 na nilikuwa natumia 400. Unapata nikaa sababu stai kukaa hivyo, unapata nafanya kazi mingi sana na mbaya.
Na bei ya customer imeweza kubadilika kama nini?
Hawataki. Sasa ukiongezea customer bei, unaona itakuwa mbaya sababu yeye hajaongezewa mshahara kwake, lakini ukimwambia kuongezea umempoteza. Ni mbaya sana.
Tunaweza kuzungumza labda jina.
Mimi naitwa James Kememia. Mimi ni daktari. So nilikuwa nifike kazini saa 2. By saa hii ni saa 3:30 na nimegoja matatu mpaka saa hii. So nikaona nichukue pikipiki ndio niingie kazini by saa 3:30. Saa hii ni saa 3:30 nishachelewa.
Unatarajia kulipa pesa ngapi?
Saa hii mwenye amenibeba amenilipisha 1,200 kwenda town Nairobi.
Kwenda town.
Kutoka Ngong kwenda town nimelipa 1,200. Kwa kawaida huanga nalipa 100, saa hii nalipa 100, 200. So tunaomba serikali iingilie. Itupee subsidy ya mafuta at least ndio watu wa matatu waingie kazini. Asante. Yeah. Asante, nashukuru.
From Ngong, this person normally pays 100 bob.
Yeah.
Now they are paying 1,200 on a boda boda to bring him to town.
Times 12.
This is high.
And you remember, majority of Kenyans,
Yep.
you will be looking at very high percentages, are people who go work and eat.
Yes.
So you get your 600 shillings, hiyo ndio chakula ya siku hiyo.
Yes.
And when they don't get the 600 shillings,
they don't have anything.
So this is and it just have. If you look at the statistics that are available from the government records, I was looking at the freezer. Kenyans have borrowed a total of 1.4 trillion shillings in the last 1 year. What that means is that if we are at that level, it is that money is just moving. Na saa hii nikitumia jamaa wangu kule nyumbani nichagi pesa, ile kitu ya kwanza inafanya ni kulipa freezer, alafu anakopa tena. That's also not a very useful thing, and this kind of a strike also now hits those people harder. So it's a really tough time. And I was saying that in this opposition politics, I was just sharing another experience I had with Kibaki, and it was also done by Uhuru. Kibaki, I remember Jenu Kaiseri. Jenu Kaiseri was a little afraid of Kibaki. He was in ODM, and we were in PNU. So we went to Kibaki and told him, si Jenu ni rafiki yako, mpigie simu akuje PNU. No, Kibaki akasema nani yako na simu yake. You know, very few people had phones wakati ile, so the person who had akampigia, kapatia Kibaki. Kampigia, yes Jenu, kuna mna gani? Naendeleaje? Na huku mnamna gani? Hiyo ni mzuri. Fanya kazi huko, kaa huko. Utafanya na wewe ukiwa wapi? Huko. So he never, we had gone to tell him, bring him to PNU. And what he said is, he didn't tell us. We had him telling General.
He told the general.
Fanyia huko. So being in another party does not mean enmity. But if that other party can bring you on board, Kibaki would recognize the blame that other party is bringing on board. And look at Kaiseri all the way to when he died as Interior CS, the kind of reforms that he brought on board. So the ability of us in the leadership, and especially in the opposition, to identify the quality of the person and allowing that person to come through from whichever door is another test within the opposition.
Right.
And I also saw, because one of the mistakes that was committed by this government is to try and kill opposition political parties. And they have a very clear role that they need to play within the constitution, clearer than it was during Kibaki's time, even Uhuru's time. I saw Uhuru was also accused by IMF and World Bank of trying to kill the opposition. I was that time with Kina Musalia. He never called to swallow us. No, he called us to ask, how do we work together from where you are? And it makes sense because hata wewe ulikuwa unatafuta kula ufanye kazi Kenya hii na utimize haya. Number 2 is that there are those Kenyans who have faith in you. I would want to serve them as a president. I would want to serve them too, even if it is through you. It's not a crime. But this culture ambayo imekuja kujaribu kuua hii, kuua hiyo, kufunga ile, hiyo ndio imetuletea ile shida iko. I am telling you this. If our opposition, the legitimate opposition which is supposed to be majority led by Junet, who now has decided to kuja mukia na kuweka pari ingine. If this voice was there on the floor, they would have spoken on behalf of these people.
Yeah.
And we would be believing, tunasema hebu tusikie watatutea namna gani Tuesday. But now they are not there. So people have decided to do it themselves, even without the opposition from outside.
But now we have a faction that has branded itself opposition. So ideally, there is a voice that is countering what the would-be opposition that has been swallowed into this broad-based agenda is. But this opposition that has branded itself as the alternative people's government is also not structurally one constituted, because we have different factions, okay? And I do believe, yes, it's very important for different parties to play within it. We've seen there's Jubilee, there's DCP, and each of them has a candidate they're rallying behind and saying that this is our person. So the next big task becomes, how do we unite these voices to pick a single candidate? Is it even possible to pick a single candidate from this group of people? We saw TIFA polls that Mariam had mentioned a bit earlier that had different pairings. And Matiang'i, who's a Jubilee candidate, was actually one of them. The other strong candidate that is coming from this discourse is Kalonzo. So help us understand, what are the makings of this structure? Are we going to see a united opposition and not one that is speaking again in different camps?
I think I appreciate that question, and it is a question that must be dealt with. But even before you get there, I'm trying to bring out the role of Parliament, because I saw people go to the floor as opposition and tell Moi there's not going to be a finance bill tabled. And they pushed from the floor until a finance bill, an alternative finance bill was brought. That is the role of Parliament. They are the ones who can make changes.
Right.
We who are outside us, and that's the role of the opposition in Parliament. We who are outside as opposition leaders, we can sit and call press conferences and issue very elaborate documents of what needs to be done. But we do not have that enforcement wing within Parliament. The people within the parties, like, for example, this may now Chijariro if the Leader Mwananchi team moves strongly because they are really in the opposition. But if you rely on the DCP, for example, or remember all the DCP members in Parliament are members of UDA.
Yeah.
And they have a reason to be going later in the day to go and talk to the government.
Yeah.
Mchara, Nini, Ron, kila kitu. So they are held captive. It is not easy for them to radically go to the floor and introduce changes, because they will also be sanctioned by their own parties. That, you saw Rwanda, ako nje huko, court may say go back, lakini huko ameonga miezi gapi. So it's not a joke. And that fear is always there for the government of the day. So why one of the reasons why we are where we are is because we did not have fidelity to multi-party democracy. Using the words of Raila Amolo Odinga, is the one who coined it. Fidelity to multi-party democracy. They would be doing all those things. Then they will be feeding to what you are now talking about. We will be seeing better ratings within the TIVA. It will be a question of who is able to organize his troops better on the floor, so that the things we see in press conferences are actualized on the floor of the House. Having that wing having been taken, you are left, articulating issues in press conferences, TV stations like where we are today. And Kenyans can only now have faith with you from that angle. But bringing real changes, which we saw during Kibaki's time, we saw them during Uhuru's time. And it is for that reason that people who were in the opposition ended up being the leaders in the country. Now inaanza kuwa ni mwenye yako kwa serikali ndio anamtoa mwenye yako kwa serikali. Why? Because that is the person who has the access to that floor. So a little bit of things that needs to be done. Perhaps a bit what was also there in the NADICO, it was also there in the thing that people don't like being mentioned called the BBI. Restructuring the government so that we have the leaders of the opposition who are now all of them outside the house being allowed back to the floor so that they can now lead their troops from within the floor of the house. This is an area that doesn't seem like it's helping us a lot. And if we have to deal with this maneno, those are amendments that would have, again, they were objected to by the whole of the UDA unit when it was one unit, and you can now see how how disabling it is in terms of managing or handling the issues that Kenyans are complaining about.
So we're seeing a possible return of BBI.
Whatever. By the way, NADICO had a couple of the BBI solutions. Even, and I want to say for those of us who have continued pushing the two-third gender rule, and I hope they are listening, it is, we can make all the formulas there, but the solution that was going to deal with the issues of gender was in the BBI. It was a really well thought out chapter. We tried to introduce it at NADICO. Again, I took the whole of the BBI and said, this is my take.
Submission.
These are my submissions on behalf of Jubilee Party on all the issues. But again, political dynamics of the day dictated otherwise.
Not everything made it. Is Kalonzo the de facto united opposition candidate?
Kalonzo is the leader of Azimio. And you will recall that even when Baba decamped and went to the the broad-based government, myself and Wamarwa, during one, not less than 3-4 press conferences, even whenever we were going there, I kept announcing Kalonzo as the de facto leader of the opposition within Azimio, because we needed, my thinking then was Azimio needed to have, to continue moving, so that we continued ensuring that there is a voice from the opposition and especially from outside. And he was the natural choice because Laira was a natural choice. On the other side, he is the one who was there longer. And we all were able to say, mimi na Wamarwa. Ilikuwa maneno tu ya kuongea sisi na Wamarwa na Wajakoya kidogo walikuwa yuko na sisi. But the few of us hapo tukakunywa chai. Nasema hii kitu, wewe you are our senior. Yes, initially I must admit he was hesitant. He didn't want to take it when Raila was still around. But we kept pushing. I remember him saying, Kioni is the one who says the difficult things. And I said, this is what I think. The other day you saw the chairman of Azimio, again, chair meeting that now officially made him the leader of Azimio. And Azimio has a lot to play in the way I believe in how we go forward. I have a lot of respect for that grouping. Those who are not in it will also either join it or know how to work themselves around and work with it. Because like I said, hii nyumba itakuwa na watu wengi. Si ile watu tatu ya chai. Umesikia Sifuna ameingia huko. Na ako na 16 akiongeza yeye mwenyewe agehesabu 17. Kwa hivyo hii ni room kubwa.
Na DCP is not in Azimio, pia inakuja. Yes. You know, there's very many. So with Kalonzo as, like now the leader of Azimio, and so the leader of this grouping in the opposition, the TIFA polls are saying the likelihood of people actually, agreeing to a Kalonzo ticket is high. Now it's a Kalonzo versus who, or Kalonzo paired with who. One of the leading poll there was showing Kalonzo paired with Matiang'i, your fellow deputy party leader in Jubilee, who's the Jubilee candidate anyway, right? The other one was
Kalonzo
Sifuna. Now where do you sit?
One of the things
pragmatically,
one of the things that I'm happy about is that if you go through the statements I have said, no issue, Pale Belene I was saying, this thing will need to be done scientifically. Tena, uliza raia. Usije ukakaa mwenyewe ufikiri ni wewe tunangojea utuambie. Uliza raia. They have organized themselves. The whole country is a study. You can't ignore them and walk into a boardroom and walk out with a solution and think that they are going to say hallelujah. These are not the Kenyans of yesteryears. So I am so happy that we are now seeing those days, perhaps when you are talking about the scientific whatever, somebody may have been saying it is you like it because it is favoring your candidate Matiang'i. But I'm still holding the same. You see, it is now given Kalonzo as the lead. It is the way to go. Let people see and let the reality hit all of us and see where are we going. It is upon each one of them, of course, to work very hard to impress Kenyans and move to the top. If it emerges like it, the TIVA thing is showing, of course, saa zingine kila wakati lazima tuulize na hii TIVA naye nani alikuwa amewaambia hii maneno wafanye. Ni watu wamekorogwa, watu wamekorogwa wame you know.
Watasema hiyo ndio kazi yetu. That's what
but you can also see these combinations that are going to be there, and there is nothing you are going to do about the combination. You have the two blocks, political blocks. Lazima you must draw leadership from all these blocks. Kwa hivyo sio kazi rahisi, lakini ikiendelea namna hii mimi sioni ikiwa gumu sana, kwa sababu even as Sifuna comes with the 17, I'm sure he is not coming to tell the other who are there, boom, toke kidogo tuongee. Maana anakuja kusema tukae chini tuongee.
Tuongeze watu.
He's very strategic. Ulisikia akisema wewe shika mguu na wewe shika mguu, mimi nitaenda na chingo. Already bargaining in a very clever manner.
His position in the hand.
Yeah, but what I admire about him most, which must be embraced by others, is he says I have a team of 16-17. Usianze kusema nimekuja hapa na wengine wamewacha nyuma. You are going to bring this unity within your own unit.
Right.
Na usije ukakuwa mjuaji sana. And main thing is, you know, you have to political watu ambao wamekuwa kwa siasa they are very very wajeuri like Sifuna. Usicheze na hiyo everything he says.
There's a reason.
Hakuna idle statement. Hakuna. He picks these things properly.
And there's a message he's sending.
And there's a message he's sending. And when the message resonates with many, then you have also to join that thing. But the other thing that I would be asking is that we have also to allow every unit to function on its own. You know? Don't try to manage. I cannot sit here and try to manage Wiper. No, leave Wiper to manage itself. Na maneno yao. And the other. That's very important.
That's the way to go.
And very, very important to have that respect of others.
Kioni, I'm uncertain about a solution coming from just the fact that people have come together and all of them have said we are going to have one candidate. And so let's come together. Combined, we can get over 50 plus 1%, 50% plus 1, and get Ruto out. It's how. That mix of these people in the opposition is a very, very, very fiery mix. It's oil, water, plus other things.
Kila kitu.
It's not a mix. Let's just be clear.
It's not.
If you just look at the various factions, those people will not sustain a government for 5 years. If we just look at how they're behaving today. So, how do we get the comfort that if the United Opposition came up with one candidate and the ballot had two, William Ruto versus Kalonzo and whoever, right? That the Kalonzo government would actually hold for 5 years and live to the dreams and aspirations of Kenyans?
One is that unlike where we were maybe 2 months ago, not 2 months ago, 3-4 months ago, sasa everybody is cooked. Whoever thought you can jump out of this pot, hawezi. Ukiruka, utaacha guo huko. Hii kitu mwenye ataruka ni mwenye atarushwa na Wakenya. Ile shida kubwa itakuwa what you have said. How do you ensure that the people who have now allowed you to learn, because they have been forced by Kenyans to allow you to learn. It's not because sababu alikuwa anakupenda sana. Ni Wakenya wamekusukuma mkubali huyu.
Yes.
The biggest task would be to maintain them as a team. Because ile shida iko ni hivi kwamba after the elections, I think it is, I don't know what date it is on in the month of August, it's 10th, 11th or thereabout next year. Tarehe 16 mwezi ya 8, one of those guys can just, after you've been sworn in, anaweza simama na aseme one time.
Yes.
True.
So how we manage ourselves now will help us to go deep into the term that we are given, or it becomes a very short period. I'm told, I have no evidence, that why Kibaki's 2002 movement didn't last for long is because there was mistrust.
Yes.
And mtu moja tu alikibia akaambia wengine, unajua vile nimesikia hii kitu. Somebody told Kibaki, these people are planning to overthrow you. Kibaki was unaware. And he said, Tinini. And for that reason, he blocked them. He blocked the ODM team.
The LDP
and
then.
The LDP then. Akawafungia. So they became unhappy. Hii kitu tumewida pamoja, you are now being suspicious of us. So let me use this opportunity to say this. The people who run around us, myself included, those who are quick to get you the rumors, na ile mambo ilikuwa watu walikuwa nasema kwa baa jana usiku. If you are a person who consumes that, it's very difficult for you to lead this country. I want to repeat it with capital letters. If you are a consumer of bad rumors, hii kitu itakuwa gumu sana kwako. Because every rumor that comes is spiced to help you. You know, it's supposed to shift your mind, make you see the other person with bad faith, you know, suspicion. Hata tulipokuwa tunafanya campaign, alikuwa nasukuma ule mwingine hakuwa wangu. If you don't go above that, and that is what Kibaki did when he recovered. He then went above all of us. So when you were talking about the Grand Coalition government, ilikuwa kitu yake. That's what he wanted from day one. He was happy to have everybody on board. And that's why it became very difficult for us in that OP second floor. Kwa sababu mlango alisema ikae wazi. Hii mlango sitaki Raila mtu amuulize anaenda wapi. If I'm having a meeting in this boardroom,
he must be there.
It's discussing government issues. Kama amekuja kwa kazi ingine, hii kiti ni yake. Anaingia nakaa. That's how he managed the whole thing. And that is why we also got this economic boom, because everybody is involved. You are not going to run this country wewe peke yako. And that is why I feel like we were really let down by the people who opposed BBI, because it now had constitutionalized that structure. We will not be having this maneno. All these people will have positions they will be occupying now. So that when you are in power, you know there is a real alternative group that has formed. That is not now juggling for positions. Because they already know, mimi nitakuwa prime minister nini, now you can tell people. I want you in my government as the prime minister. I want you in my government as minister for. I want you in my government as the speaker. That is the way to ensure that the government of the day is kept at a proper check.
Well, the Constitution had already done that, but it's just that it's been, we've talked about Parliament and everything. But just before we close, Ulisama Kalonzo said, you know what, Jeremiah says the difficult things, Speak to Kenyans right now. Tell Kenyans some difficult truths about our political situation, what needs to change if we are to see better governance.
I think one of the most difficult things is to ensure that the person who is picked as the candidate receives support from all the quarters, and those of us who've been there and who are now there accommodate one another, and then we must make sure that our personal, unajua ile kitu kiongozi mwingine anasema tunataka power, hiyo usiwe tu unataka power, hapana, ni unataka kuleta suluhisho kwa shida za Wakenya. And that means that you must be able to say, fine, mimi siko, I was not born to do this. I have done what I have done. I can do X, Y, Z better than, you know, that's the most difficult thing. If people then agree to appreciate their strengths and weaknesses, and we bring each other on board, that is one of the major difficulties. The other one is that we are also dealing with a political wizard. William Samoei Ruto is not like any of the other presidents we have been having there before. He doesn't hesitate to bring on board his political ideas and try them out. And he can go in terms of even spending, hana iyo maneno ya ku, and then you know he has the ability to speak. The only person who can equal iyo maneno ya
you can match him.
You can match him. Hiyo maneno sitaki kusema ya mdomo lakini ni kweli. Hiyo umesema hizo ni Rigiji wanawasaida. Hiyo sasa of course Sifuna is another chap. Somebody who can speak on his feet and take you on, which is a really nice thing. But he wasn't quite at that plate. And you see, but Rigiji is the one who is able to, and it's good to appreciate that which he has brought to the opposition. How he eventually uses it is also yet another challenge, just like it is a challenge of that will come with every other person. How do you use that following that is with you? And how do you ensure that every one of us does not wish any other person away?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you keep them together?
Oh, sorry. I wanted to know the last thing. That was the difficult message for Kenyans. Now the difficult message for the political class.
The difficult thing is to win this confidence. This is not an easy thing. You want to keep going back here. We don't know kiongozi yao. Ujui nani utapigia simu akuja kwako. It's the same thing with Gekomba. It's the same thing with the Gen Z, the millennials. The difficult thing is that when we look at you and you are emerging as the one in the TIFA polls or whatever other polls that are showing, it is now your ability to bring these people on board and to win their confidence. Na isi watu ya kwenda kuongea ati ovyo ovyo. You really have to have concrete. Ukiambia mtu ya Gekomba kama umeongeza uchuru, ukimwambia mambo ya kucheza maneno mingi kwa mdomo, he already knows what you need to do. And if you have another alternative that is global, you need to get him to understand it. But in the meantime, I need to leave. Niko na watoto wako shule, niko na mtu kwa hospitali. Ni sawa sawa hii korokoro yote unaniambia ni sawa. What am I going to do between today and tomorrow? So to win the confidence of Kenyans is not going to be, and you cannot do it alone. You need surrogates whom you must trust and who must trust you also.
Hatuna muda mrefu. Just a quick comment from one of our fixers, that's Emali, saying appointments matter not, sir, goodwill does. And I think that's, at the end of the day, it boils down to goodwill. Are you going to do that which you ought to do once you're in that office? It doesn't matter what side you fall on. It is, do you have the goodwill to do right by the people?
Yes.
Exactly.
We are seeing still some footage of what's happening, and of course, NTV will continue showing this as the day goes. This is Thika Road, the images that you see on the screen. That's a contingent of police officers, and we had seen earlier them doing some running battles with some people on that road. And I don't know what, now all of them are coming and mobbing this particular driver.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going to happen to forcing the driver to go, or these border people. What kind of, well, they appear
What's
to be
happening
cordial.
here?
They appear to be cordial. It's just, it's a cordial one. Even the other border guy, it's cordial.
Tell you.
There was somebody that were, chasing.
There was a car there.
Yeah, there was a guy that they chased there for a bit. I think they came to take out the fire that had been lit at this particular junction.
Oh, okay.
So
I need to get myself to Kiambu. I don't know. I hope I can get there.
Fika pale Kiambu. The Jubilee is having a meeting.
We have a meeting there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jubilee meeting. That's just a coincidence. That,
And the party leader is going to be there?
we hope that every time we have a Jubilee meeting, we always hope that the party leader is with us. Our party leader is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
Yes.
I know wengine wengi wamekuwa wakisema retire. Siku yake ikifika atafanya hivyo. Lakini yako na kazi ya kufanya kabla hiyo siku ifike.
Okay, there's a group now that is coming. And there's a confrontation here with the police.
Yes, that's not...
So there's a confrontation. Hurling stones at the police. And police appear to have, retreated.
How the police behave, it's more of how they behave, more than how the public behaves.
Yeah, how do the police react to this?
How they react to this is very, very important. I ask that they don't overreact. They are the ones who have more time, more resources, and they can outstay any group.
Yeah.
They don't need to use firearms. Live bullets are not useful. They need to be very, very restrained. Yeah.
So
because hata wao wenyewe hii shida watu wanalia, hata wao wako na hiyo shida.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's affecting everybody.
Hata wao wako na hiyo shida.
It's affecting everybody. You'll come again, Kioni,
Nitakuwa
so we can engage on this particular issue, the Presidential Retirement Benefits Act.
Yeah.
And how the law prohibits your party leader from continuing to be your party leader.
And how that law does not meet the constitutional threshold.
Okay.
For public participation or margin.
No,
It's unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional to try and limit.
Right.
And we put it in the constitution for reasons and times like now.
Until it has been declared unconstitutional by the courts, Kioni, you cannot call a law unconstitutional.
It is.
Right? You are a lawyer.
We can argue about that.
Let's listen into Laban Shaban.
Laban Shaban has now got into this particular place. He's going to give us an update of what we've been seeing. He's on the overpass, and the confrontation that we're seeing is below him. Let him set up, and then he tell us what's going on. Laban, what are you seeing? That confrontation between the citizens and the police. So what we were seeing earlier there is the police who were there, and there was a barricade that had been erected at a junction on the road, and there clearly was some tires that had been lit.
Yeah.
Police came, they put out the fire, and they cleared the road so that it's passable. And now we've seen a group of youth who've just come out of somewhere, and they were hurling stones at the police. Police have retreated about 100 meters from that scene. Let's see what more is going to happen in there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an ongoing confrontation between police and citizens. And like they're saying, like Kioni has said, it's how the police react to this.
Respond.
Because clearly, some in that group are coming out to provoke the police to action. So how do the police actually react to this? They're the ones who have gone through training. The youth haven't.
They haven't. I mean, so I'll say it is unfortunate to see a strike makes sense because of the economic situation that we are all in. Now, barricading roads essentially is a whole other thing.
Correct.
And then pelting stones at the police, a whole other problem. And then we'll see escalations.
Correct.
But you're right, one side has training and is required to uphold the law. Everyone is required to uphold the law. But one side has training and is there to maintain law and order. The other side is clearly trying to aggravate, like in that situation that we've seen. We'll take a really short break, but when we come back, we'll listen to Laban Shaban, who is on Thika Road. He was just on the overpass. And of course, we'll go to other reporters who are across Nairobi County and across the country and see what the situation is looking like on the roads.